Finally, the truth is out. Hey y'all, hey, it is Friday, April 17th, and it is time for the deep dive with Toya Creates. So let's get into the bold and the beautiful of it all. So, we started with Will and Ivy having an interaction, okay? Ivy was walking through the halls per usual, not working, and she sees that Will is working, and she decides to go in and bully him some more. Like, what are you doing here? He works here. Just don't talk to Electra at all. Leave her alone. So at this point, Will is deducing that Ivy is probably doing a little more than just talking. He doesn't say anything and they don't make a big deal of it, but you can tell that he's suspicious at this point. And so he eventually walks out of the office because Ivy's just not letting up and just bleh. So then we also see RJ continuing to try to turn Ridge against Will. He's like, still talking about Electra and how this is not right and Will's not a good fit here. But surprisingly, Ridge is like, no, I'm not firing Will because he's earned his spot here. And now the Forresters are doing things in decency and order. Whatever. I agree with Ridge nonetheless. So RJ, he doesn't react too poorly to that. And he leaves the office. And then we see Brooke being, an ally for her son, which I get, but the whole thing is messy, okay? She's thinking like she and Ridge may have to step in. And Ridge is like, why? These are grown-ups. Like, I'm not doing that. And I think Ridge is concerned about the impact of this love triangle, rectangle. I don't know. Because, he mentioned, he was like, look at how Ivy and RJ were in here earlier demanding that I fire people. And he's like, Ridge does not want to deal with that. Ridge just wants to do his designs. God, leave the man alone. And they're also kind of making this, I'd say, the new generation of, let's say, Taylor. No, maybe not Taylor. Brooke, Ridge, and one of many other men that have been in Brooke's life. They're trying to, this is the 2026 version of that. Okay, whatever. Because Brooke was like, oh, who do they remind you of? Anyways, so we go back to the showroom and Daphne, we pick back all up where we left off yesterday. So Daphne is starting to reveal this secret. She's just telling Electra that basically someone has been interfering and that's why you and Will are so confused. Because even earlier, let me go back a bit. Will was saying to Ivy, we survived so much, things that would have torn other couples apart, and just for whatever reason, we can't get past this. So Daphne is telling Electra again, someone has been interfering and manipulating things, and that's why you and Will are just so confused and not on the same page and can't fix this. And so Electra's like, well, like, who are you talking about? And Daphne does not say. But she does just do a lot of hinting. And I'm like, girl, just say it's Ivy. But I think she does. She hints to like, Ivy wants this and that. And so Electra was like, I don't like what you're implying about my aunt. And even then, Daphne does not say, like, well, girl, believe it because I saw her take the letter. None of that was ever said. All Daphne will say is that she's been holding on to this information for a very long time. She doesn't feel it's right, and that Electra has the right to know what happened, and that Electra should go and speak to her aunt Ivy. And Electra again was still like a little incredulous. She just cannot believe this. And she's just like, but Will, he did give me an answer. He told, he didn't respond to my letter. He just brushed it off. And Daphne was like, well, are you sure that he actually saw the letter? And then Electra was like, oh, I'm like, finally, someone with a little bit of sense. Like, well, did he see it? And Electra's like, but it wasn't there when I went back. Like y'all are an office of two people. Anyone could have taken that letter, girl. So again, Daphne encourages Electra to go and talk to her Aunt Ivy and kind of ask about this letter. And then Daphne goes on about her way. Now, Carter had told her yesterday, stay out of it. So let's see if this causes any static there, which it shouldn't, because I felt like Carter should not have been brushing Daphne off like that. I understand he doesn't want to be involved in drama, but, it was clearly weighing very heavily on your new wife, and she's trying to talk to you about it, and all you could do is talk about humping around because you want a baby so bad. But, okay. So I'm glad Daphne finally dropped the little nuggets for Electra to get a clue. And so, finally, we see Electra lurking in the background because she's found Ivy in an office and Ivy's working for once. Bravo, because anyway, so Electra's just lurking up and she closes the door and Ivy's like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Ivy's in a great mood. She is just like, oh, everything's great. Stay away from Will. RJ's so much better. Blah, blah, blah. She thinks it's all good until Electra starts playing 21 questions. Now, I am a very straight to the point, direct person. And so when people do this dragging, it drives me crazy. Because Electra came in there and just started asking all these questions. Like, oh yeah, Aunt Ivy, you said you would do anything for me. And RJ is the person you want me to be with because you approve of him, right? And Ivy's just answering the question. She's not thinking anything of this mini interrogation at first until things take a little turn. Okay, so Electra starts asking different types of questions and the mood changes or the energy changes, and she's just like, I wrote Will this letter. Basically, tell me what happened with that letter. I think she mentioned that Daphne. Oh, yeah. She did say, I spoke to Daphne. She was, I feel like, giving Ivy an opportunity to come clean, but Ivy kept playing this game. And that's when Electra was like, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about, basically. And then Ivy's face is just like, she knows she's caught at this point. And then Electra is like, where is my letter? I poured my heart and soul out in that letter. First of all, that letter is 2 paragraphs at most. That's not pouring out your heart and soul to me. But if you like it, I love it, Electra. And so, Ivy finally goes over to her purse. Now, why are you carrying this letter around all the time? I mean, I guess it's an insurance policy. I would have torn the letter up. I would have burnt it. What letter? What are you talking about? But okay. She's been carrying around this letter for weeks, changing purses, all of the things, whatever. So she goes to her purse and takes the letter out, and Electra is just undone. She's like, I cannot believe you would do this to me. You know, Electra fully trusted Ivy, and fully believed that she had her best interest in mind, which I think Ivy does, but this manipulation is just wrong, plain and simple. And so that is basically where we left off. The truth is finally out, to Electra at least. And let's see. Ivy just stood there staring and not saying anything. Great for a Friday cliffhanger. And so we will see how Ivy truly reacts to this on Monday. Now, of course, we saw the little previews for what's to come next week, and Ivy remains indignant, but let's see how it plays out, because Ivy's just like, and I'd do it again. Soccer, Electra, but whatever. Oh, and also Will also confronted RJ again, but there was no fisticuffs today. And he basically said, I'm not going to allow you and Ivy to poison Electra against me. Again, Will does not know the truth at this point, but I feel like he has a suspicion. And he's like, you know, he's going after his woman, plain and simple. And RJ was like, ugh, you know, we don't have to do that because you ruin things on your own. I mean, he's kind of right, but shut up. I'm so sick of RJ. Like, seriously, anyways, we know this. But yeah. That is what happened today. Like, comment, and subscribe for these daily deep dives. And let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about this storyline? Did it drag on for too long? Are you glad the truth is finally coming out? And what do you think is going to happen next? Until then, like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.